Hello, this is John Genet from ByoNetics. It is the 8th of May, the 9th of May on a Thursday here in Key Largo, Florida, 2014. Today I want to talk about too many therapies. I have a lot of families who come to me and we start discussing the therapies that their child is going through. And uh, the largest count that I had was 20 different therapies. The average is around 10. You have speech, behavior, occupational therapies. You have biomedical, which is vitamins, specialized diets. Those are the things that are the main core of therapies as far as addressing autism is concerned. But you have a lot of families who are so desperate for their child to be well, free of autism, that they subject the child to any type of therapy that shows any type of promise that they found on the internet or that they've heard from somebody, and they begin to employ it. Well, one of the things you have to understand about the brain is that the brain is a processor of information. It's a computer, right? And every time that you give it another therapy to function in, you give it a new set of instructions on how to perform. Well, if one therapy tells it to do one thing, another therapy suggests that it does something else, and one therapy tells it to move left, and one therapy tells it to move right, within a short period of time, the brain will just stop processing. Why? Because it has too many instructions. Like I am doing this video on a desktop Macintosh Apple computer, right? Um, if I have too many programs that are open in this computer that are instructing the computer to do too many things, after a while, this computer will just freeze up. It will just stop. Why? Because the software is giving it, each software is telling it to do a specific task, right? That's in conflict with the processing ability of the computer. And so it freezes up. Uh, well, the brain's just exactly the same way. If you uh, employ a lot of therapies, then you're instructing the brain to do a lot of different tasks. And within a short period of time, the brain will slow down its processing to the point that the family will give me back a call and say, there's something weird happening with my child. It doesn't seem that he's responding very well to any of the therapies that we have been enrolled in. Well, then we start looking at the therapies. We start counting them up. And the first question I ask the parents, I said, if you could put yourself in your child's situation, that you're requiring this child to do these many things during the day, desperately trying to find a way to help this child. So up front, you're not at fault. But if you were trying to do these therapies, would you be able to do them? The answer, of course, is no, they wouldn't be able to do them, right? Because they don't require themselves to desperately be seeking forms of therapy and help to address a particular problem. Adults will never go through that type of process. I have some parents that have the Sunrise program. That's where you're trained to be able to be your child's therapist. It's an all-day commitment, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. A family member has to be always available, usually the mom, because the husband is out working, supporting this activity. Then you add all the rest of the things like ABA therapy, applied behavioral analysis, and the different therapies. It becomes overwhelming. It becomes overwhelming for the child. The child becomes stressed, full of anxiety. They're not functioning well. They only have access to an autistic community. We're trying to force them to function in our reality, and it just shuts down the processing of the brain. So what I suggest is staying with the core therapies: speech, behavior, occupational therapies, biomedical, which is vitamins. There's several articles that I've posted on the vitamins that you should uh, make available to your child. A lot of vitamins are just money that you're throwing away. Uh, you should especially be on a specialized diet like gluten-free, casein-free, sugar-free diets. I have a video on the importance of that on my ByoNetics channel here at YouTube. So, uh, and one thing, you should let the the therapies play out for a while to see if they actually work for your child. I have parents who believe that if the therapy is not working within 2 to 3 weeks, that they need to stop that therapy and run off and get another therapy. Well, that's not giving the therapy long enough. Like with ByoNetics, right? We, our data shows that a child begins to respond with speech, behavior, and speech, mental focus, and emotional balance, usually within about 3 months. Right? But if you tried ByoNetics before then, you might not get the response that that 3 month period would allow. Right? And you have to understand too that however old the child is, let's say that the child is 6 years old, right? That means that he's probably been displaying autistic symptoms for at least 4 years. Well, you're not going to uh, get a complete repair of autism immediately. I have some parents that they play the CDs the first night and they call me the second night and said, I haven't seen any improvement. And I said, no, because we're repairing these damaged developmental switches. In this example, it took them 4 years to get to the point of damage that they're at, right? So you can't expect a full repair within a short period of time. Sometimes it happens, right? But 99.9% of the time, it takes some time to repair. Why? Because it took some time to create this damage. So you need to keep that in your mind at all times. That it takes time to accomplish things. It takes time to repair things. It takes time to see a result. Don't be putting a time limit on it and then running out and buying something else to replace that, giving the brain instructions one more time on how to do something else. It becomes a negative for the child. The child will just shut down. There's too much stress and anxiety as far as your need to have that child perform is concerned. So just take a deep breath, allow things to unfold. Basically stay with speech, behavior, occupational therapies, a gluten-free, casein-free, sugar-free diet. If you employ any other therapies, be sure that they complement the therapies that you're using for your child at the time, right? And if they don't buy them. 9 times out of 10, you're throwing good money after bad for buying therapies because you are hoping that they will work as compared to something else, and they will work in a shorter period of time for more result. And that's just not usually the case. It never happens like that. So take the opportunity to put yourself in your child's position. See if you would be willing to go through that much stress and anxiety and that time during the day to have demands put upon that child that are unrealistic. That right now, that child is functioning in an autistic reality. For him to be able to function in a proper reality where we function at, he has to ground to his physical body. And when he grounds to his physical body, he starts functioning in a proper reality. And that's the only time that you're going to see any benefit from the therapies that you're investing into. Because the therapies that are written are only written for our reality to function in. The reason is that the therapists who write these expensive programs, they don't come home to an autistic child. They've never been autistic, so they have no idea of what that reality is like. So they can only write these therapies that will perform in a proper reality. So keep that in mind. That child, before anything can positively happen to that child, has to function in a proper reality, and they have to connect through their mental, physical, emotional, and speech softwares. Right now, ByoNetics is the only technology that provides that repair. If you need to give me a call, my telephone number is 1-800-280-2802. ByoNetics resides in the Florida Keys. south of Miami. We're on Eastern time zone, so always keep that in mind when you're trying to call. But I would love to be able to speak to you or answer any questions that you might have. So keep me in mind. Thank you very much for your time.